This is the Crackhead Cannon. I don't know about you or your situation, but unfortunately where I'm located, there are many roaming crackheads. I work in a commercial building on the outskirts of an urban area on a long road that runs from the interstate into the south part of the city. Even though it's near a busy main road, my property is actually pretty secluded, but all through the day and night, you can see zombie-like druggies ambling along up and down the road, always on the lookout for whatever they can get their grubby hands on. And unfortunately, there are a lot of break-ins. Even fenced-in yards and fenced-in commercial properties are not safe. I know this because I see all of the videos that others around me are constantly posting day and night of people trying to break in, some of whom are successful. From vehicles to houses to commercial buildings, stores, laundromats, restaurants, and everything else, nothing seems to be immune. So that's why I decided to set up the Crackhead Cannon. This is a very simple setup. It's a Gen 3 Glock 19 with True Glow TFX Pro night sights and a mounted flashlight that is very bright. The light also has a nice bright green laser just in case. I'm not going to discuss the light/laser in this video because I don't want to upset anyone. There seems to be a section of the gun community that just can't help but get their panties in a pretzel when it comes to flashlights. It's a very strange thing, but that is a discussion for another day. Going back to the Crackhead Cannon and its features, most importantly, it also sports a match-grade Wheaton Arms threaded barrel that in turn hosts a very effective dead-air Odessa 9 suppressor. Oh yeah, and I can't forget the rubber talon grips, which makes the gun just stick to your hand in even the sweatiest situations. Because of this setup, especially the weight and how everything is balanced, even someone who is basically a brand new handgun shooter can easily pick this up and use it effectively.
Recently, I don't know anything about him though. Here.
Is that it?
Yep. Now you're ready to rock and roll.
Really? On it. Go ahead.
That's it. What do you think? That's easy, isn't it? It's so easy. The Crackhead Cannon actually came about because of crackheads making their way up onto my property and looking to break in. Even with double signs posted on the one and only entrance to the property, they just keep on coming, of course, because if there's one thing criminals, especially crackhead criminals, don't care about, it's a freaking sign. But what they will care about is the Crackhead Cannon. A lot of the time, this setup, minus the light/laser, is installed in an original CAA Gen 4X Roni chassis. In fact, that's why I originally set this gun up in this configuration in the first place, so that it could be used in the Roni. But another thing that's really cool about that Roni setup, the details of which you can find using the link on the screen right now and in the description of this video, is that I can literally transform that setup into this setup in around 30 seconds, if even that. I remove the Odessa 9, pop the G19 out of the Roni chassis, twist the Odessa back on, and slap on the light/laser. And faster than you can say Crackhead Cannon 10 times in a row, I have this nice, highly modular setup. The one main advantage when using this setup instead of the Roni setup is the maneuverability. This setup allows me to much more easily use just one hand for the gun, freeing up my other hand so that I can quickly open doors, manipulate inside light switches, use my phone, etc. Even though it's obviously longer than a handgun that doesn't have a suppressor, it can still easily be concealed in a desk drawer or other such hidden locations. And speaking of suppressors, why did I want one on this setup anyway? I mean, what's the big deal with having a suppressor? Well, that's a very long discussion for another day and is somewhat of a heated topic, even though I completely disagree with those who state that you should not use a suppressor for a home defense setup. But again, that's a discussion for another time. So back to the question, why do I like using a suppressor? Because I'm all about that surprise attack and being able to hear afterwards. If someone comes up onto my property and is attacking me, I want to hit them before they are able to get me, and I want to do it stealthily, especially if there are multiple attackers and I have to fire multiple rounds. And most importantly, I don't want to blow my ears out in the process, especially if there are others around that I might need to communicate with. Because no matter which side of the should you use a suppressor for home defense aisle you stand on, there's just no denying the fact that you will have some very sore ears if you ever have to fire your gun in an enclosed area for defensive purposes without ear protection. Even firing most guns outside in a big open space can quickly cause hearing issues, and if you have to fire a lot of rounds, you might just end up with some permanent hearing damage. That's why you see everyone who has at least half a brain using ear protection when shooting guns. But what do I know? I'm just a guy who's been using my ears to hear stuff since the day I was born. I mean, even cops who are around gunfire way more than most of your average gun owners will certainly feel it if their unprotected ears are anywhere near a gunshot, especially if it's indoors. So the Odessa 9 keeps things nice and quiet, especially if you're running it in the lone configuration with all of its baffles installed. Now, I always have my smaller concealed carry weapon on me as well when I'm at that property, but if I have to go into serious defense mode, and if I have the choice, I will always grab the Crackhead Cannon first. Unlike my concealed carry Glock, the Crackhead Cannon offers way more rounds, a super bright light, and built-in hearing protection. And it's just way easier to shoot. For me, this is a very simple yet effective setup, and I have zero doubt that if I'm ever in a defensive situation of any kind where I have no choice but to defend against an attack, I can grab the Crackhead Cannon and quietly take care of business protecting myself and or anyone else who might need defensive help.